I want to talk today about dealing with those shadow parts of us, the parts of us that we really don't want to look at. I know I've talked about this before, but I want to give you some tips on different ways that we can look at those shadow parts and different ways that we can work through what we're doing as far as healing those parts of us. I'm going to be talking a lot more in my videos about human design, simply because it's something that I've found that really helps me to be able to quantify everything that I've got going on in my world. I'm not using it so much as a labeling system, more of an experiment of I'm using this to be able to see those around me, to be able to see myself in a clearer way. So when it comes to working with our shadow and working with those pieces of us, those parts of us that we've shoved aside because others have told us that those parts of us are not acceptable to society. We're angry, we're frustrated, we're bitter, we're disappointed, we're upset with the world or upset with ourselves. Well, these emotions and these parts of us are showing us where we need to adjust our view of ourselves and our view of the world around us and the world in general. And the reason why I like human design, especially quantum human design, is because human design is very much in your face and telling you that this is the way that you've been conditioned. This is what you've been taught to think about yourself, and puts it into a construct, a wording, a vocabulary that's very harsh and in your face, and kind of shocking you into waking up, into being aware of the fact that what you've viewed as life really doesn't have to be like that. Quantum human design, which Karen Curry Parker has reframed or rephrased some of these words to be able to make them more empowering, more open to growth, and for us to be able to enhance ourselves and not shut ourselves off from the world. The reason why I want to use these more is because I'm using them as an experiment for my life, for how I'm viewing the world, like I said. And in order for me to do that more, I need to be able to share it. I need to be able to speak it out and tell myself and you on a regular basis, kind of like a reminder thing. So when we're thinking about disappointment or anger or frustration or bitterness, disappointment, these are all aspects that society or culture tells us that these are bad things. These are shadow parts. These are parts of us that they don't want to see in the world. But those are parts of us. It's an expression of us that tells us where we are not happy, where we're not satisfied, where we're not being fulfilled. And if we're not expressing that, or we're not noticing that we're feeling in these particular ways, and we're not noticing these shadow parts of us, then how can we be expected to grow? So let's say a manifestor, for an example. A manifestor is going to express anger when they've been, told that they can't just go do whatever they need to do. When they get this idea to go just do it, they've got to be able to express to those around them what they're thinking, what they would like to do. And that's a difficult thing. Manifestors are very much in the moment, quick, let's go do it. They're the ones who, their mate says something in passing about, really, I would love some ice cream, but we don't have any, gives it no other thought. Well, the manifestor is like, oh, well, leaves, doesn't say anything to their partner, goes, gets ice cream, and they're gone. And their partner's like, where the fuck did they just go? What are they doing? Because they didn't inform those people around them. And, the other person, the partner, is like, well, what the fuck? They just left? They didn't tell me anything? And when they come back, they've got this ice cream because they're thinking, oh my gosh, I wanted to do something nice for my partner. And, brings back the ice cream along with other things that they figured they needed to pick up at the grocery store. And their partner's upset. And they come home thinking, oh, I did this great thing. And they get yelled at and they shut themselves down. They think, oh, I'm not going to do anything nice anymore because every time I do, I get yelled at. Well, it's not that they did, they're not getting yelled at because they went and got ice cream. They're getting yelled at because they didn't take that extra moment or didn't have the awareness to take that extra moment to inform the people around them what they're doing. And so that builds and that builds. And especially for a child, I remember one time my eldest granddaughter, she's like 4 years old. Her parents were going out of town and all the grandkids were coming to stay with us. Well, she's 4 years old. She's like, I'm going to stay home by myself. And of course, as adults and responsible human beings, we're trying to explain to her that no, she can't do that. She probably could. That was probably not the correct phrasing, but we're telling her, no, you can't. And she's like, yes, I can. I know how to take care of myself. I know how to, heat things up in the microwave, and there's plenty of food in the fridge for the next, few days. I could take care of myself. But of course, as adults, we're thinking, no, we're going to get, Child Protective Services called on us if we leave you home by yourself at 4 years old to take care of yourself. And honestly, as a manifestor, she very well could have taken care of herself. She could have been completely fine at the house by herself. Now, of course, we didn't do that, but she was upset because she was all set to just do what she needed to do and had the wherewithal to know that she could take care of herself. She's very much the type of person who is incredibly smart, picks things up very fast, and knows that she can do these things, and she can do the things that she needs to do. The difficulty is being able to allow her to be the manifestor, to do the things that she wants to do because she knows she can do them. Her way of learning is by trial and error. So she knows, and there's really no error. It's just trial and figuring out what doesn't work and trying something else. So there's really no error. It's simply her trying to figure out, what does work and what doesn't work. So if we have taken these manifestors and beaten them down because they're doing things in a particular way that does not conform to the way that we think they should be done, that shadow and that anger builds with a generator. A generator and a manifesting generator, they get into these growth cycles. And when we interrupt that cycle, because we ask them a question, can I help you? Is there something that you need? What are you doing? And we break that impetus for that idea or that thing that they're working on, they get frustrated. We've broken that stream of consciousness that's coming into them, and they get upset and they get frustrated and then yell and they yell, what are you doing? I can't believe you interrupted me. And that shadow part of them, if we continue to do that with them, builds, and they push that aside and they're like, well, there's no point in me starting anything. Or somebody's going to interrupt me. What's the point? And that shadow part of them gets pushed down and builds up. As a projector myself, I have all these suggestions and these ideas for people to do things in a more efficient way or a better way. Or I have, suggestions for people. You should drive with a seatbelt on, or you're going to get in a car accident, or you should take better care of your health so that you can live longer. All of these things. But if I'm spitting them out to everybody and nobody's listening because nobody asked for that information, then that bitterness for me grows, and I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to tell anybody what's going on. For the reflector, you're this mirror to the world, and you see all the possibilities of the beauty and the amazing things that people and people in the world could do, and they're not doing it, and you get upset because it's so obvious to you, but it's not obvious to everybody else. And of course that builds up because you're thinking, Why the hell can't you just do the things that I see that you're possible, that I see are possible for you, and I see are possible for the world? Why are you not doing them? And you get disappointed. So we each have these different ways of expressing that we are not satisfied, that we're seeing that other people, or it seems to us that other people don't acknowledge our ideas, or don't allow us the time to be able to do, work through our processes, or don't acknowledge that we do know what we're doing and we just go and do it and don't remember to tell the people around us what we're doing. Knowing that there's another way for you to look at how you view the world, how you work in the world, knowing that there is some way that you can experiment with the way that you see the world, work with the world, work in the world, is such an amazing advantage. And one of the ways that I want to be able to share this with you is to kind of give you some ideas of what you need to do. So, as a manifestor, someone who is very quick on their feet, most of the times they get this idea, they just go and do it. And it's not that necessarily you need to check in with yourself. You just need to make sure that you're letting the people around you know what your plans are. It doesn't have to be detailed. Hey, I'm going to run to the grocery store and get you some ice cream. I'm working on this project and I'm going to be in my room for a while. Don't bother me. Whatever it is, just tell people what you've got going on. I don't feel like being around a bunch of people. I've got a bunch of ideas going on in my head. I'm going to go sit in my room for a while, or I'm going to go for a drive, or I'm going to go for a walk. Whatever it is, just let people know. Once you start letting people know, and I know as a manifestor, I don't know personally, but I see it in the people around me, my family members, that this is something that's not easy for you to do initially. And I get that. You get this thought and you've got to run with it. If you feel like if you don't run with it, it's going to be gone. It's going to be lost and it will not come back. And then you'll feel disappointed and upset with yourself because instead of working with it and doing that idea, you've lost it because you feel like I had to stop, tell those people around me that really don't have anything to do with it, what's going on, and then go on to it. You don't have to explain everything. Just let people know that you've got something you're working on, and that's where you're going to be in your own little zone for a while. It doesn't have to be specific. Hey, I'm going to go work on something. I'm going to be in my zone. Just let me be for a little bit. Simple, easy, not a lot of explaining, and allows you to keep going and keep that thought and move forward with it. A generator has this thought, this idea, this thing that they're working on. And when they're working on it, they're deep in that thought process. And when they feel like they've been interrupted or somebody comes in and says something or they're talking to themselves, Roy does this a lot. He's a manifesting generator. So he's talking to himself and talking things out. And I come over and I'm like, hey, baby, do you need something? Or can I get you a drink? Or can I get you something? Have you eaten today? Whatever it is. Because I'm trying to, help make sure that he's fed and has drinks. Or if he's talking out loud, I'm not sure if he's talking to me. And that breaks that chain of thought and he gets frustrated. And it's not because he's frustrated with me, but he is frustrated with me to a degree. But it's more that he's lost that train of thought. So as a generator or a manifesting generator, just acknowledge that frustration is not, you're allowed to express it. As you express it, you're releasing that energy. And just know that you can get yourself back into the flow. It takes a little bit of time. But you're going to have these plateaus of moving through the process that you're moving through. And it's going to be frustrating for you when somebody breaks that line. So just blow up, I know, but explain to people, okay, if I'm in the middle of something, just let me be. Just don't talk to me. Let me do my thing for a little bit. And then when you see that I've taken a break, or you see me slowing down, or you see me, stopping, then come and ask me. If you have something that's urgent, I try to do this with Royce. I make a note, I write myself a note so that I remember what it is. If it's something that's urgent, then I put a note down in front of him, something that will not really break that chain of thought that he's going through, but something that allows him to see that I need help, or I need to be able to tell him something. For myself, a projector, an orchestrator, I need to realize that as much as I want to be able to tell people how to do things, I can't. I need to be invited. I need to be asked for my input. I need to be invited to the party, so to speak. And that's for big things. For small things like, I want to go to the grocery store, I don't have to be asked to go to the grocery store. I need to know that if I want to offer my insight to someone, I need to frame it in a different way. Hey, I've got an insight on this. Is it okay that I share? Or I have an idea around how this may work better. Is it okay if I share that with you? So instead of just blurting out what it is that I want to say, which I have worked very hard at not doing. For years, I would interrupt people. I had to get my thought out. I had to say what was on my mind. And there was a lot of times where I have been called bossy and pushy and too talkative, or, I'm trying to tell everybody what to do. And those shadow pieces of me that I've shoved aside because people are telling me that I'm that way, I now realize that it's because I was not invited to share my insight. I was not asked to share what it was that I thought about us or what ideas I had. So as a projector, you need to remember that when you're speaking with somebody and you have an idea or you have something that may help them, ask them if you can share that. Ask them if you can offer some input. If they say no, do not take offense. Don't take offense. Just know that they're not somebody that you need to share information with. It's okay. That's fine. There are going to be other people that you can share your information with. As a reflector, this is somebody there are very few reflectors in the world, first off. So this is somebody who really sees the potential in the world around them. And they're disappointed if they're not in the right place or not with the right people. You need to know that if you're not feeling well, if you're not feeling like happy and comfortable and content, then you're probably in a situation that you should not be in. You may be around people who don't reflect what you want to see in the world, or you may live in a city or live in an area that is not feeling good to you because it's not reflecting back to you what you see the potential of it being. It's not always easy, but you need to find the people that you're comfortable around that reflect the views and the ideas you want to see in the world, or that they're fulfilling the potential of what you know they can be. You're in an area that is growing, that's thriving, that's expressing what you see the area's potential to be. You need to be in a place that makes you feel good. Reflectors for me are kind of still this enigma. I really am not sure that I understand them. I believe that once I get a reflector in my world, I'm hoping that one shows up soon so I can experiment with them. Because I don't understand reflectors that well. I know that they have this amazing way to be able to show us the best in ourselves, but I've yet to see that in real life. My family is full of manifesting generators, a couple manifestors, a couple generators, and like three different projectors. we are the few and far between, and no reflectors. So I don't have anybody to show me what that looks like. I hope this makes sense. I hope this resonates with you. I know that this is something new, um, and I want to share more of it with you because I want to be able to help you to see this as an experiment. See human design as something that you can find a better way to communicate with the world, to communicate with your family and friends, to express your true self with the world. Once you learn your type and your strategy, the way that's the best way for you to communicate with the world, things get so much. Once you learn your authority, then all of these three components alone help you to be able to show up in the world in a better way. Please subscribe, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know if this is something that interests you. And remember, live life adventurously. It's the only way to live.